Shalom. This is Avraham Shira. Welcome to our Erev Shabbat talk. We're here in Eretz Israel, and we are in Parshat Achrei Mot, and we're learning from the Sefer Zohar Kadosh Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It is the 26th day of the Omer. Next week is Lag BaOmer, the greatest Jewish festival of the year. Hundreds of thousands of Jews come together to celebrate what? What are they? They're celebrating the death of the tzaddik, the elevation of his soul to heaven, the publication of thousands of pages of his works, the teachings that transform the Jewish world? Are we celebrating just the joy of being in our own country, free, able to keep the mitzvot without a sword at our throat? There's so many reasons to celebrate. And, we all have different ones at different times. And it's not a formula. Now, today's class, we're talking about the difference between awe and joy, because that's what the Zohar is talking about. The Zohar begins in this parsha to talk about, of course, the two sons of Aaron who passed away in their tremendous desire to get close to God. They went over the line. They went into the Holy of Holies. They brought incense when it wasn't called for. Now, is that something you die for? You wanted to serve God. You wanted to come close to God. These are two greatly righteous people who grew up in a holy family. Your uncle is the prophet of the entire nation. Your father is the prophet and the high priest. Your aunt is the first female prophet in the nation. You grew up in a very holy situation. And all they wanted to do was get close to Hashem, to bring the incense offering. Now, the incense offering has a lot of secrets to it, and we should know that because it is not simply a nice smell in a beautiful place, right? The smell of the incense would lift your soul out of your body, and you could easily have a transcendental experience from smelling the incense in the Kodesh Kodeshim, in the Mishkan, in the desert, or in the Beit HaMikdash when it was offered there. So, why did they have to die? Couldn't have God just said, guys, back off, slow down, get married first, have some kids, get a job, don't drink before you come in here. All the different things that the rabbis say about Nadav and Avihu, the two sons of Aaron who passed away. But, I think that this touches on this question of awe and joy. Because joy is this exhilaration of experience, of your reality, to exhilarate in your life, in reality. And awe, well, it's also exhilarating to be in awe, but it kind of puts the brakes on you. It kind of stops you in your place. In awe, you don't know what to say. In joy, you sing, you dance, you holler, all kinds of noises, depends on what culture you're from. If you're Moroccan or if you're, Russian, there's all kinds of voices people use to express their joy. And certainly in a holy, and even in a not so holy context, people go to the football game and scream and holler because of their joy when their team wins. So those are all expressions of joy. Awe kind of stops you in your tracks. Awe is like beyond your ability to respond to it. Now the Zohar here is talking about which came first, the awe of our Creator or the joy in the service of our Creator. So ask yourself that question. What comes first, awe or joy? Now, of course, there are many types of happiness or joy, and of course there are many levels of awe as well. You can be at awe of a picture of the temple. You can be at awe of the sunset. You can be in awe of the face of a righteous person who exudes love and kindness and the light of Hashem. You can be in awe of a book. You can be in awe of many different things. And each has its own subtlety, its own level. And so too with joy. You can be happy about many different things. Of course, the highest happiness is to have no reason at all. just like the highest love is that you love without any connection or need or attachment to the thing that you love. So too with joy. The highest joy is joy with no reason at all, just it is. Okay, so what about awe? The Zohar tells us that the awe of the Mishkan, the temple, the tabernacle, would have kept a person at distance, not to get too close. So, and awe will also, when you have awe, a lot of people, they'll run to the rabbi and kiss his hand. I know that they see that in my yeshiva. And then at a certain point, you don't even do that. You don't get close enough to kiss his hand. And so there's levels of attachment or getting close and then keeping your distance. So awe is first about keeping distance, and joy is you love and you're in such joy with something that you want to attach to it completely and become one with it. So what came first? What comes first in our service of God? Well, the Zohar tells us that awe comes first. Gilu bara'ada. Have joy in your trembling, right? And so joy and trembling is the joy that comes out of being in awe. So what came first? The awe comes first, and then gradually it becomes joy. But a lot of people, they just want to be happy. I'm not happy. I want to be happy. It's a very normal, healthy impulse to want to be happy. But yet we're not really taught how to be happy. So the world creates recipes for us. Well, if you get a new job, you're going to be happy. If you have more money, you're going to be happy. If you have more fun, you're going to be happy. If you have more toys, you're going to be happy. But we all know that those things don't really leave us happy. They give us a moment of excitement and then it's gone. And this morning I was driving to go visit Avraham Avinu's well in Beersheba. And on the way, there were all these motorcycle guys on the highways, because it's Friday in Israel. It's like Sunday. It's like a day off. So all the motorcycle gangs were out riding their bikes, and all the off-road guys were riding their bikes. And then you have the cyclists on their bikes. And it was just like a half of Israel, I felt, were on some two-wheeled vehicle of one kind or another, having a good time. He said, great, they worked all week. They need to have a day off, go out in nature and ride and have a good time. Cut loose, set free. It's all wonderful. But you know what? I was around them in a store and they weren't happy. They were anticipating the ride. But I didn't see smiles. I didn't see, slaps on the backs and hugs and, all the signs of joy. Because all that excitement doesn't really give us what we really want. What we want is joy in being. Joy in being means I don't need anything to be happy. That's the highest happiness. And, if you look at nature, nature is happy. A bird doesn't question itself and say, why aren't you happy? Nor does a tree, nor does a flower, nor does anything that's created. They don't question happiness. They just are. And I think as children, we all had part of that joy. We had that simple joy as children that, why not be happy? I remember asking, when there were arguments around the house, why aren't you people happy? What's your problem? Because happiness is a natural state of being. It's not something you have to get. It's something you already are, but it's just hidden inside. Now, awe, a child can't stand in awe of its creator unless, he's some kind of, like Avraham Avinu at 3 years old, he recognized God. But most people, awe is something you have to cultivate. You have to experience it and reproduce it and understand. Right now, I'm standing in the Supreme Court before the great king, the great judge. That's necessarily an awesome moment. But if I don't know what a court is and what a judge is and what a law is, like a child, then I won't be able to experience awe. So awe, listen closely, is something that we have to cultivate. But the ultimate goal of the awe is to take us to this level of attachment and joy. So we need awe first as adults, but it's going to take us back to the level of the joy we once had, simple, pure, innocent joy. But we're not so simple, innocent, and pure because we have das. We have knowledge, we have experience, we've lived in this world. We understand this world is a complex place with a lot of problems. But however, when we combine the two, awe and joy, yira and simcha, what you're really causing is a unification in the qualities that God uses to create the world. Because yira is a quality that comes from recognition. Simcha comes from the result of the recognition. Now, I hope this is not too subtle. I'm trying to nail it down in words. These things are real things, and we're just put words on them to try to attract the experience. But again, we have to cultivate the awe by understanding whose world it is, who's given us all this goodness. And then when we really attach to that awesomeness of what we have, then you become happy. But it's that simple happiness. And not because you have things, but just because we are alive. We are on a planet spinning around the sun. And we are the Jewish people, and we have the Torah, and we have hope, and we have direction, and we have purpose, and we have meaning, and we have history, and we have identity. All the things that all the world wants, we already have them. So our challenge is just to be ourselves. Of course, that's not a new message. You'll hear that everywhere, in Judaism, in New Age, in every religion. Be yourself. But if you don't know who yourself is, how do you know what to be? Right? So that's where Judaism helps out. Judaism says, okay, be yourself, but you still need to know Hashem because you are a reflection of Him. So, the two sons of Aaron that passed away in last week's Parsha, and then we mourn them now. We shouldn't look at them as being punished by God. I don't believe that God punished them. I believe that they went over the line of discretion because of their love, because of their joy, because of their enthusiasm. Their soul just leapt out of their bodies. The holiness drove the soul out of the body, because that's what holiness does. It makes you less attached to the physical. And as you become holier, you pull out of your body stage by stage. And so we shouldn't think that God punished anybody over here, but rather these young men literally had an ecstatic experience of the Creator where their soul just jumped back into the root of who they are. And you can have that experience, that joy in yourself. And it has nothing to do with your status, how much money you have, how many children you have, nothing. It's just the joy of being you. If you start to measure and monkey with it, you'll see that your joy will quickly run away. But I think the Nadav and Avihu, these holy Kohanim, had this certain ecstasy of the moment of the experience of God. And God said, okay, Mikadoshai et Kadesh, from my holy ones I will be made holy. Which means, if you become holy, you sanctify God's name and His holiness. Because everybody looks at Nadav and Avihu and says, these young Kohanim that went into the holiest of holy places and they left their bodies, you're saying, wow, that causes awe. Whoa, back up, put on the brakes here. And that's the awe that we need. And then when we have the awe, when we have brakes, then you can put on the gas and get closer to Hashem. But if you don't have any brakes, you're in danger. So awe is like the brakes that keep us safe, and joy and love are that which keep us pushing the gas and going further and getting closer and closer to Hashem. And we need both to drive this holy vehicle called our soul. So I want to bless all of us with that quality, with both of those qualities, to not be satisfied with just being in awe all the time, because there's no such thing. And just to be happy all the time, there's no such thing. You have to have both. And what the expertise, Rabbi Nachman says, is drawing close and pulling away. Hitting the gas, hitting the brakes. And so we need that expertise of going back and forth. Know when do I want to get closer to Hashem? When it's time to daven. When it's time to learn His Torah. And when do I want to have awe? When it's time to wait. Just look at a situation. Check out where I am, who I am in the situation. What's being asked of me? What's being told of me? What am I being warned about? So we need to have all these qualities together, and then we can find that perfect balance and reach that joy of being. And that's where Shabbat comes in, because Shabbat makes it easier. Shabbat takes away the negative forces, it takes away the past, and it erases the future, and all we have is the now. And it's much easier to be joyous when we're in the now of the moment. And it's a beautiful evening here in Eretz Israel. The air is cool, the atmosphere is quiet, and we feel that creation is settling down to another day of rest. And that day of rest is our chance to attach ourselves to a level much higher than this physical world. So God bless you all. Shabbat Shalom. We'll see you again next week on all the platforms. And we'll be looking forward. We're publishing a book soon. We've got an interview out with our famous interviewer, Yedida Miriam. And we've got poems coming out, meditations happening every week. You can catch those on several different outlets if you check with my web manager, Ariel Ephraim. And, life is happening. Torah is happening. And this is where we are. And we're going to keep going there. God bless you all. Shabbat Shalom.